Meanwhile, in stately Wayne Manor...
Happy Saturday, we made it to the weekend. Another episode of Brickskill Studio starts right now. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio, and welcome to another installment of Superhero Saturday. My name is Jeff, and as always, I am super happy to have you with me today. So in today's episode, we're going to, again, keep plugging away on that Batmobile engine in the Partwork, and we'll be dealing with the oil pan, the left cylinder head, some more exciting stuff, and let me just check my notes real quick. Again, with the Lego version, we're doing steps 31 through 35, and that's more work on the chassis. So let's get into the build.
And in the Batcave, deep below stately Wayne Manor...
Okay, here we are with issue 11. So let's get into this. Again, I always remind, the magazines are following along with the TV series. So we're at season 1, episode 11. And then we get into the comic books. And then finally into our parts and our instructions. So we have been working on the right engine block, and today we're going to start working on the left engine block. Looks like we have some more tubing, which is always fun. And so here are our instructions. And let's get into it. Okay, so here is the parts pack for issue 11. All right, so here are our parts. I've got the screws all ready to go. So let's get into this. Okay, so the first thing we are doing is attaching the left engine connector to the bracket. So I believe this is the bracket. And this is the left engine connector. Alright, so this is going here, and this is going here, like so. There is a locating lug, and these parts are both stamped with L, so we know they go on the left side. So we're going to be connecting these together with an AM screw. Alright, this is metal going into metal, so you can tighten that down pretty tight. Okay, there we go. And now we are taking the left engine block, which is this big piece, and this is also full metal. So we're going to turn this over like this. And then, let's see. This is going in just like so. And that's going to go in, again, with another AM screw from the other side. Alright, so those are in there just like so. So we're going to take the oil pump, which is 11H. And it looks like it is this little piece here. And it is going to just push in just like so. And this piece is angled, so there we go. And it did click right in. And yeah, that is not coming out. So now we want to take the oil pan that we were working on in a previous episode. We want this to go on just like so. And that's going to go in with 2 AP screws. So there's one. All right, those are in. So now we want to take this little tube that we attached in a previous episode, and we want to connect this right there. Okay, so there we go. So now we want to assemble the fuel pump. All right, so this is the fuel pump. Okay, so now we need our little tubing here. So this is going right here on this. Okay, that's going right there. And now we want to take the fuel filter, which is this pretty little thing, and it's going to go on the bottom of the fuel pump, and it has a keyhole pattern, so it can only fit on one way, and that is this way. And there was a click. I'm not sure if you heard it. So this is just going to press to fit here. Seems like we would want a screw there, but okay. All right, so press to fit. That is not falling off. And then we want to take the oil filter, which is this piece, and we want to press this in also right here. And again, no screw. Okay, that is secure. That is not falling out. All right, and that is the end of issue 11. So here we are so far. So the oil pan is the bottom, so this is how this is looking. All right, let's get into issue 12. So here's the magazine. And here we are, season 1, episode 12. Here are our parts. So this is similar to what we did in the last episode, but just the other side of the engine. So again, we're going to be putting in our little spark plugs. We're going to be cutting some tubing, and it does look like they gave us enough again. So, and then at the end, we're going to attach the engine and the gearbox and everything, and we should have a completed engine. So what is the official... So we'll be assembling the left cylinder head as well as fitting the ignition wires from the distributor to the spark plug. Okay, perfect. And so here is the part pack. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we are going to be taking the left cylinder head cover, and we're going to be placing it on top of the left cylinder head. Just like so, and we're going to put those in with 2 AP screws. Just make sure I've got this going the right way. Yes, it only fits on one way. So 2 AP screws. All right. Now we want to take the left radiator feeding pipe, and that is this pipe here. And again, we want to insert it just like so. And just be careful because it is bent. There's a bend in the pipe, and you don't want to snap that off. All right, that is installed there. Now we're going to take the left exhaust manifold, which is this piece here. And that is going to go in just like so. And that is going in with AM screws. All right, there's one side. And there's the other side. All right, so we want to take our spark plugs, and again, we want to remove these from the screws very carefully. Okay, so I'm just going to put the extra aside. All right, and it does want us to do the same thing that we did in the last issue, where we sort of prepare these holes. So I'm just going to do that again. Back that out. All right, so we did that step. Back to our spark plugs here. So just like we did before, we're just going to press these in, and I didn't use the tweezers on the last ones, but maybe this time I will, just to get them started, and then I'll press them in the final. All right, so here we have the spark plugs in. Okay, so now we're going to want to bring over the piece we worked on in the last stage, and then this is going to go right here, just like so. And we are going to secure that in with the CM screws. So there's one side, and that's going to hold that in while I do the other side. All right, and that is in. So now we want to bring back the gearbox that we worked on several episodes ago, and the right rear assembly. So this we want to take, and we want to attach this right here like so. I'm just going to set that down, and then, all right, so this is going to be a little sandwich affair. So we want that. So we want that in there, and then we want this to come over just like so. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I have literally knocked all of my tubes off of here with all this crazy manipulating things around. So let me get that back, and then I will be right back with you. All right, so I got my wires or my tubes back installed up here. I got the spark plug that fell off reinstalled over there. Okay, so now the last step is to install the tubing for this side. So let me get this unwrapped. Okay. All right, and so we should still have this one hanging out here and this one hanging out the back. And then, of course, this one hanging out the top. Before we conclude this issue 12, and we conclude this episode, remember back in episode 3, we were in issue number 5, and we had this problem of needing to cut two lengths of cables, but we did not have enough cable. And so I said I was going to contact customer service, etc., etc. So I did. And they sent me another cable, and it's just as long as the one they originally sent. Now, what I have discovered, being an American and being unfamiliar with the metric system, I assumed that this was a guide because we had a line with arrows on either end and measurements that this length is 70 millimeters. That is not the case. Millimeters can be converted to centimeters, so 70 millimeters is 7 centimeters. So if we lay this ruler here, you can clearly see that this is 14 centimeters long. It is not 70. It's not 70 millimeters or 7 centimeters. So this measuring guide is not really a measuring guide at all, which I find very odd because when we get into issue 9, a little further along, they give us sort of the same situation where we need to cut. However, in that case, these measurements are correct. This says 70 millimeters, and it is 7 centimeters. This says 80 millimeters, and guess what? It is 8 centimeters. So this red line with the arrows is a cutting guide. So it's very strange that this one was not. And again, being an American and not being familiar with metric system, I had no visual gauge to tell me that this does not look like 70 millimeters. So I just, again, assumed that this was the measurement. I didn't even think to verify it with a ruler. So it turns out the length of cable that they sent us is plenty long enough to cut a 70 millimeter piece and a 60 millimeter piece if you do not use this as a cutting guide. If you use actual measurements. So this is the cable they sent us. And there's 0, and there's 7, and then another 6 is 13. So that's right there. So we have enough to make both cables with that much left over. So I guess my advice would be, if you see these illustrations in the manuals, do not take them at face value. Either use a ruler to measure or verify the measurements with a ruler. And also the one that we did cut is actually probably closer. It is this one right here. And it is way longer than 70 millimeters. It's about 13 or 130 millimeters or 13 centimeters. So we can actually trim this one. However, I am going to leave it as is until we attach this engine to see where this is going, and the extra length might help us out. So I don't want to cut us short. But now we can finally take the starter piece and this teeny tiny little plug. All right, so this is our 60 millimeter piece. So we want to place this on this piece right here. Just like so. And then we want to place it on the starter right in that hole, just like that. And now that completes this part from issue 5. And now we flash forward to issue 12, and we are going to take this part, and it is going to go right here in this part here. There we go. And there was a little click. I don't know if you heard it. So that completes our missing hose from issue 5, and that completes our last step for issue 12. So let's get this all cleared up, and we'll move on to the Lego. All right, so this is where we left off in the last episode. We put this beam in, built up a little over here, and put these 2 front pieces on. So now we're going to move into steps 31 through 36. All right, that is steps 31 through 36. And we put this beam in and locked it in, and then we built up these 2 front areas here. All right, I'm assuming this is the front. I don't know. This may be the front. We don't really know yet. So let's bring over. So this is where we're at with the Partwork build. We have pretty much the engine and the gearbox put together with all these crazy wires and things happening. And then here is the Lego version. Again, working on, like I said, with Lego, it's always, you build that foundation and then you just keep building up. So we put these little rods in, we put this beam in, and then we worked on this section here. So that is it for this episode. So that concludes the building for today. I'm really glad that we were able to sort of resolve that customer service issue, even though it really wasn't a customer service issue, it was a me issue. So again, remember, don't take those measurement guides in the magazines at face value. Bust out your ruler, use the centimeters, millimeters, like do the thing, and it'll go a lot smoother. I mean, definitely lesson learned. So let's get into our summary for this week. For the Partwork build, we completed 19 steps and used 17 parts. And for the Lego build, we completed 21 steps and 36 parts, and total to date, we have completed 97 steps for the Partwork build and used 123 parts, and for the Lego build, we have completed 87 steps and used 209 parts. Okay, so again, we are plugging right along with this engine and the chassis on the Lego side. So again, remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, share the video with your friends, and until we see each other again, happy building, take care, Be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.